And we are live. Hello, everybody. I say everybody. This is a totally spontaneous stream, unplanned. I just sat down to do some transcribing and I got 4 bars into it and I was like, oh, I'm going to be sat here for a couple of hours probably doing this. And I could just have generic shit on YouTube in the side window. But I thought to myself, why not share the experience? Because maybe it's a bee in my bonnet type thing. But of course, because we live in this time where AI is a thing. uh, when people don't have a skill set, they often assume that a skill set that is presented to them by other people, well, that must just be AI because they don't have the skill set. Therefore, how could anybody have the skill set? So, yeah, there's been a sharp rise in the comments of people saying that my videos are made by AI in my YouTube comments. And spoilers, AI is fucking awful at transcribing, absolutely awful at transcribing. So, yeah, I wouldn't rely on AI for transcriptions. But also, more importantly, I've got plenty of live streams of me transcribing on my channel. So, I thought I'd just add one to that. Steelers Reel is online, and I just sat down for my lunch, checked Discord, good timing. Yeah, I have a Discord server, and if you want to join us on that, well, there are links somewhere. I guess I'll make a link and I'll put it in the comments. Uh, let's get that. Where is that? Invite to server. There we go. I guess I have to edit the invite link. Yeah. Okay. Here's a wee link to our Discord server. Or here should be a wee link to our Discord server. There we go. Something to listen to during your morning walk. Good to see you, Fred. You know this game better than anyone. Fred is just as experienced a transcriber as I am. I mean, he's been published by Hal Leonard a lot more than I have. So anyway, yeah. So I did. It's been a good week for transcriptions on YouTube, and things that you don't expect to do well, and things that you expect to do well, don't do well. I did that classical guitar version of Take 5. That's almost 100,000 views, which is nice. Didn't expect that to do well. I just thought it was a cool video. I enjoyed it and thought it would be fun to do. And I also did that Pat Metheny, All the Things You Are to a Metronome Click. And again, that's up at like 35,000 views. So surprised that did really well. But I also did Paul Gilbert. What Paul Gilbert thing did I do? Oh yeah, the Daddy Brother Love a Little Boy solo where he uses the electric drill. And that didn't do great. I think 5,000 views or something like that. And none of these things matter because they're all monetized by someone else, not me. The views don't matter, but it's always nice when you put in the time doing the transcription that a decent amount of people see it. And because ultimately what I'm doing here is I'm trying to share my love and passion for the history of music, or more specifically, our instrument, the guitar. Because I've always considered myself a student of the history of our instrument, and I've spent many years watching as many instructional videos and concert videos, and just trying to learn as much as I can about the history of our instrument. I think a lot of these videos are not as widely known or not as well remembered as maybe I think they should be, and I'm just trying to do my part in keeping those things alive. And yes, I could be like one of those other talentless Facebook pages that loves to just steal other people's content and repost it and not really add anything to the equation. But I like to put in the hours and make sure that I do, add something to the equation, make a fully detailed, accurate transcription of what's going on, of what's being played. So, that's why I do what I do. And there's nothing more soul destroying than putting, 4 hours into making something and only 50 people see it. Our instrument, says the pianist. Yeah. Well, you know what that means. That just means 5 years from now I'll be posting a bunch of piano transcriptions, right? Let me bring up the streaming info so I can see viewers. Yeah, I can see viewers there. Okay, and if I put you there, I can see everything. Okay, cool. So let me bring this up. As I say, I did make a start. I am. Oh, we don't want the Discord. You don't want to see Discord. Let's get rid of that. You want to be able to see the video. So yeah, I did make a start. I did, like I say, 4 bars. I'm sure everybody is familiar with technical. I've got a really sneaking suspicion. When I sat down to start doing this, I did like 4 bars. Then I was like, I feel like this video was made specifically for something like Guitar Techniques magazine. So it's entirely possible that there already is a complete transcription of this particular video. And when those situations happen, generally speaking, I don't like to work from a transcription. I don't like to transcribe things that have already been transcribed because that feels like a waste of time. My only other rule is I don't transcribe things where the person that has made the video is selling the transcription. So I do have a lot of requests for, especially right now, like Antoine Boyer is coming up a lot. I've done some Antoine Boyer videos and people are like, oh, can you transcribe this video? And I'm like, well, look at the video, look in the description. Like there's a link where you can go and buy the tab. He made this video and he made the tab and he wants to make money from that, and so he should. And I support that, and it would feel wrong to go and make a transcription of a video that somebody is trying to sell. That happens all the time, actually. I find loads of great videos, and the first thing I do is I do a little bit of research to see, is this something that they're trying to make money from? Because if it is, I wouldn't want to give away the thing that they're trying to make money from, because that feels really icky. So anyway, Andy says, hello from Chicago. How's it going, Andy? Right, anyway, so I'm sure everybody, well, I'm probably familiar with, you're probably familiar with Technical Difficulties. The song, I believe originally called Scratching the Dog, was on the Terrifying Guitar Trip instructional video, which was Paul's third video for REH, and a bit more of a clip show type video. Definitely the worst of the three videos, but yeah, Scratching the Dog was on that. Was on that one? Yeah, pretty sure it was on that one. Paul Gilbert's Terrifying Guitar Trip. That song would evolve over the years and eventually be released on Racer X's album Technical Difficulties as the song Technical Difficulties. And the song mutated and changed. Some of the sections changed a little bit as the years went by. It's still a staple of things that Paul plays live to this day. So, yeah, anyone would consider this a Paul Gilbert classic. This is from, I think, about 2006, 2007, which is right around when the Get Out of My Yard album came out, his first instrumental album. It's dated by the guitar that he's playing. They never actually released this particular PGM, but yeah, he was playing this particular PGM extensively around that period. And like I said, I believe this was recorded for maybe Guitar Techniques magazine. But anyway, let's crack on. So as usual, I've got the transcribe file here on the left. This is transcribe. You can see the audio down here. The video is synchronized to that, and then I have Guitar Pro on the right. That's what I'm writing everything out in. And please, at any point during this, please feel free to stop me if you have questions about anything. I am reading the comments anytime something comes in. If you have a question about the transcription that I'm doing or music in general, or you want to ask about me and what it is that I do or my career or anything that you need to know. Like there's a question here, I'll read this in a second. Anything you need to know, please don't be afraid. I'm doing this to make my day of transcribing a little bit more interesting. So your engagement is always fun. Do you improvise based on chord tones, diatonic scale? How do you choose? Chord tones, always chord tones. Always chord tones. I'm not going to pick up a guitar and do a demonstration of that, but yeah, no, like everything you play in relation to the chord that you're playing over. And the better you get at that, the better you become at outlining the sound of the chord progression that you're playing over. Like a good example is this transcription that we're looking at here. You could look at all of this and say that this is all the G major scale, right? You could say this is a G major scale. All of the notes that are played in this 4-bar section are G major scale. But we're obviously not thinking G major scale because this is very obviously played over a C chord. This is like our classic 4-chord Lydian thing because you've got the sharp 11 over the C, and this is very clearly played over an E chord. You've got the flat 6 and 5 motion. So I'm hearing this, or I'm thinking of this. If I was soloing over something like this, I would be thinking of this as a Lydian sound. I would be thinking of this as an Aeolian sound, but not as modes. Let me be clear. I'm not thinking scales when I play. I'm thinking extended harmony, and there is a difference between a scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And thinking vertically 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. So Jeff, picking up the bagpipes. Well, when you visit in August, it would probably be handy if you played the bagpipes. Good day from Melbourne. Thank you very much. I've actually never visited Australia. Yeah, definitely put them down straight after. I'm not a fan of the bagpipes at all. So yeah, just throwing shade at the bagpipes. But that's because I live in Scotland, so a bit of a cliche. Anyway, so yeah, that's the answer to the diet. I'm always thinking chord tones. Everything I play is how does what I'm playing sound like over the thing that I'm playing over the top of, and how can I either complement that thing i.e. play the sound that is there, or how can I augment that sound by adding color tones to that? That's how I'm thinking. Koala bears. Okay, let's keep going. And the thing with technical difficulties is, like, I'm an old school Paul Gilbert fan. Like, I could transcribe the first half of this video where he plays the riff without even listening to it, because I've played this many times before. But let's do it. So da da da. Get my buttons right. How's the volume on transcribe? Is that okay? So now we do the copy paste up to there. Now it's the same idea as here, but up an octave higher. So we are. Hello, Steve. Mel and I are doing great. We had some interesting news, which we're not really talking about publicly, which sounds like it could be a lot of things, right? But yeah, we're both doing well, mate. Thank you for asking. Now, in this particular instance, he actually picks the bass note here 3 times. Ba 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 ba. We deem that a mistake. I would prefer to transcribe what I know he's going for than what he played. Da 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 do copy paste. Then we can have the same idea as here, but an octave higher. So we're starting on B. Same idea. I think the second time around he plays the harmony, which is nice. Yeah, technical difficulties. This is his kind of D major string skip pattern that he plays. And he pulls that off, doesn't pick that. Against the open D string. I assume it's that. Oh no. So we're up to there. I will put the noise in there. What does he play? He does play an open E string there. And then it's diminished. Yeah. Da da. RM Porcelianto, show Guitar Pro, and then you've got something in foreign, and I don't speak foreign. Cheers from Colombia. Would you be interested in doing live streams where you rate compositions, not necessarily the quality of the recording, but the composition of the song? I wouldn't be interested in doing that, no. And the reason I wouldn't be interested in doing that is twofold. One, who cares what I think about a composition? I'm not qualified to speak on a composition more so than anybody else in the world. And two, I don't know how. When you talk about rating a composition, you're really just talking about whether or not you like something. Because I would never analyze something from a perspective of how clever it is. I would only ever analyze a song based on how much I like it. And I would never, listen to something and go, I don't like that. But, they're doing some really there's some really clever things happening there. So suddenly I like it. It doesn't work like that. So no, that's I don't think no one would want to hear my opinions on that. And if you do, then well, I don't know what to tell you. You've chosen poorly. It's just occurred to me I haven't put a key signature in, and that bugs me. That's better. Okay. Now this is like the classic Paul Gilbert picking exercise. Is it starting there? No. Da da da. Ba da da. Ba da da. There. And for those keeping score, that's how I'm doing this when I hear the phrase. Da da da. As long as I can play the phrase and sing the phrase, then the audio doesn't matter anymore. I could wait 20 minutes, I could talk to you, and I'm still going to be able to hear ba da da. And then when I go to type that into my software, it's not like I have perfect pitch, but when I type the wrong note, I can hear ba. This isn't right. I'm looking for da 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 da. There we go. Like I say, I know this, the first part of this. Oh, does he play that up? He actually plays that there. I'm happy to transcribe Rob. I just need a good video. I'm not saying that there aren't good videos. My problem with the transcriptions I post on YouTube is I always work within the realm of things that I know. Not always. So there are things that I've been introduced to that I think are cool. But by and large, when I'm going into my pool of knowledge of things to transcribe, I'm going from things that I've seen and know well. So I'm sort of, like I said earlier, I'm trying to share these things that were really useful to me or things that I really enjoyed when I was younger. So when it comes to Rob's playing, it's not somebody I'm particularly familiar with, so I can't jump to a video. But also, I don't consume guitar videos on YouTube. When I look at my YouTube, my feed looks. I can bring it up for you, so you get an idea of what my feed on YouTube looks like. So if I scroll through my feed on YouTube, you can see very little guitar stuff. This guy popped up in my feed. I did watch this particular video. No, it wasn't this one, but he sells transcriptions of these things, so I didn't want to touch them. But yeah, you're going to see almost no guitar stuff ever comes up because it's not something I watch. And therefore, I'm rarely being exposed to new things. Like I'm just looking now, like literally no guitar things are coming up. Lots of Monster Train because I'm playing a lot of Monster Train at the moment. But yeah, so it's just a case of not being exposed to that, but being exposed to things. Nope, wouldn't dream of transcribing Guthrie's JTC guitar Larry Carlton for one simple reason. And as we've as I said at the start of the stream, I'm not implying that you should have been there, but it's transcribed. It's done. It's on JTC's website. You can go and buy it. I don't transcribe things that people are selling. It's just, I'm an educator, not an underminer. And here's another thing that goes with that. So I have transcribed a lot of things over the years where I've transcribed it, and then years later down the road, the artist wants to start selling that, or the owner, the publisher wants to start selling that. In situations like that, I'll always remove my transcription because I don't want to ever undermine someone else's ability to make money with the content that they've made. I don't want to be the reason that stops them. I'd even go one further than that. If an artist sees that I've done something of theirs and they want to take it and start selling it, shoot me a message. Happy to do that. Like I'm all about building the music industry up and helping artists make money, which is why I work with a lot of guitar players on their transcription books or their products or their websites or whatever it happens to be, because I'm helping to elevate their marketability, the things that they can sell. It's never like me doing these things for me to make money, because YouTube doesn't make me money. Spoilers. That's the way I look at it. Did I transcribe the famous Vinnie Moore videos? I did the intro videos to both of his were they Hot Licks videos? Yeah, they were Hot Licks videos. Both of his Hot Licks videos. They're both on my channel. Yeah. The humility and moral outlook that I have, it does upset me, Nate, because to be honest, like even when I go on Patreon, in fact, I'll prove this. Right, I'll go on Patreon. I'll show, and this like irks me so much. Go on Patreon. Let's switch to member. Okay, so I'll pull this over. So this is my member feed on Patreon, and when I go down and just look at people that I am either subscribed to or people that I have been subscribed to in the past, you can see memberships that I have here. Recently visited here, right? This just popped up. Digital music tabs. Okay, cool. What's this page? This Patreon has 1,400 members. That's quite a lot of people. He's making quite a lot of money from this. And what is it that he does? Oh, okay. He just sells unlicensed transcriptions of things, just outright. Oh, you're selling Ghost Square Hammer guitar cover lesson video and tabs for $12.50. Do you have a print license for that? Do you have a print license for that? No, you don't. Oh, okay. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that then. Like I put my things up on YouTube for free because there is a licensing deal in place with YouTube. When you think about it, that's what the copyright system, the copyright claim functionality is. And I've got videos on YouTube like my Guthrie Govan. I'll bring that up as well. Actually, it's like it's like I'm bringing receipts to everything. But this is always like my favorite example. Because sometimes when you make videos, you're going to get like shared revenue with the content owner, because sometimes they're okay with that, but more often than not, that's just not going to be the case. They're just going to claim ownership of the video, and that's totally fine. But yeah, my favorite example is always this one. So I go to my Guthrie Govan, the greatest guitar solo ever recorded, the Stephen Wilson solo, right? This has had like 1.3 million views, and I click on the analytics for it, and you go, 1.4 million views, nice. And it's generated me 0.001 cents. Why? Because here, copyright content was found, obviously, because it's copyrighted content. Automated, like it wasn't like claimed later on in the day, like it was just automatic, and the owner allows the content to be used, but I can't monetize it. They make the money on it. So this video has probably made Steve Wilson maybe, I don't know, $6,000. Good for him. Good for him. He made the video. Like, would I like to get a little bit? Yeah, sure, that would be nice, but that's not why I do the thing. So to be honest, music, education, both combined, must be majority for free. Just a case. Yeah, I'll be honest though, Saturn, the only people that say that are people who don't want to spend money on things. Like, yeah, I fundamentally disagree with what you're saying there, because I make a living in music from educational material, right? You don't have a human right to my intellectual property. You don't have a human right to the ideas that are in my head. You don't have a human right to the materials that I spend hundreds of hours working on. You don't have a right to my books. I have a right to earn from my skill set. And when people say that things should be free, it's just like, if that were the case, if education had to be free, then you wouldn't have educators anymore, because we wouldn't be able to make a living doing what we do. So we just go and do something else. You know what I mean? That's my that's not even my take on it. That's the way things are. I write books and I make educational videos and I have a website, etc., because people don't have a right to it. It's a capitalist society, and if you want access to a thing, you can compensate me for the work, the time, the money, the experience, all of the things that go into what I'm doing. If I, as the rights owner, choose to do something for free or choose to give you something for free, then that's totally fine too. Like this video I'm doing now, I'm doing this for free. I'm not asking you to pay to be here. I'm doing this for free, but that's my right as the person making the content. It's never on the right of the person who just decides they want a thing to just take it. You know what I mean? So there, I don't tend to put vibrato in my transcriptions because I think it just adds mess, and I think it's worth considering that when you're playing something from a transcription, if there's vibrato on a note and you can't hear that there's vibrato on a note, the transcription isn't the thing that's getting in the way of you learning the thing. So so now we're going to have a repeat, but he plays a harmony. So let's read. Oh, it's not the harmony. Is he in the same place? No. So he actually plays that in a different place there. That's interesting. I'll come back to your response in a second, Sat, and I'll just get this bit written out. And he hammers it here. So it's upper string set. He's at the 9th fret. What do you say? Blah, blah, blah. I get your point. That's where music... but that's why there is music unis that are free. But that doesn't exclusively oblige. What music universities are free? What music universities are free? There are no music, and as far as I'm aware, there are no music universities that are free. So I like this from what's that? Karimb, yeah. A friend that's obsessed with Mr. Big. I am the friend that's obsessed with Mr. Big. I love Mr. Big. Fantastic man. Scarified is another one that, yeah, another classic Paul. So he's pulling this off. Is he there? So he's on the top string. Why would you do that, Paul? That's a very strange... Yeah, very strange. Da, 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 da. So yeah, really great point there about Germany. Those are state sponsored, so they're not free. They're not free at all. You're paying for those in taxes, right? I mean, I have to look into that one, Saturn. Very good and very free. Again, don't buy it. simply don't buy it, because like, how is everybody that teaches there being paid? How do they get paid? They also just work for free? Like what? Or is it actually paid for by the government, and then you are just paying for that in taxes? There's no such thing as a free lunch. Like, I went to music school and I didn't have to pay for it. The government paid for it with my student loans that I'm now having to pay back to the government. But regardless of that, in Scotland, where I live now, you can do education as a Scottish national for free. You don't pay for education in Scotland. But again, I pay 43% of my income out in tax every year. Whereas if I lived in somewhere like Florida, I pay 15% of my income out in tax. So where is all that additional, tens of thousands of pounds going? It's going towards other people's educations, and it's going towards other people's use of the National Health Service, or it's going towards other people's social services, etc. And like, that's okay, that's fine, but let's not pretend that things like that are free. They're not. Recording doesn't sound same position on the repeat, no, because you can hear those pull-offs when you play the first time through. You can hear the picked notes, and then he he's going down to a lower note with a palm mute, whereas you can hear pull-offs very clearly there. It's literally just this one phrase he decides to play on the high open E thing, because he plays everything else in the same place. So I'll do a copy and paste. I was there. Panicked there. I was like, did I overwrite it? So first, you can't copy across a bar line if you're not doing the whole bar. So I'll have to do that, and then copy this across. But then always read it to make sure that it is correct. Yeah, I always, as a kid, always played that there. Oh, you can't see. Sorry, let me move out of the way. I always played that there. But yeah, it's there. Or at least he's playing it there on this particular recording. Paul's interesting in that respect. If you listen to, and someone mentioned it, if you listen to Scarified, or the original version on Racer X's album Second Heat, the way that it is played is totally different to the way that Paul plays it live now. The way he plays it on like the Spaceship One Live DVD, where he plays all that melody as like a string skipped arpeggio thing. He doesn't do that on the original. That's not how that's done. Let's have a look. Sorry. No. Saturn, thank you so much for engaging. I really do appreciate it. And like, here's the thing. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I think your worldview is so pure, whereas mine is just a little bit more pragmatic. You know, I actually agree with you. I think all education should be free, because I think that the problem in society, all problems in society, come down to a lack of education, and therefore providing education to people, making education better and free, but not actually free because it's always paid for by taxes, is always a good thing. It always makes society better. So I do fully agree with you that education should be free, or shouldn't be paid for by the person receiving the education. They'll pay for it in their taxes, in the nature of them being more qualified, having better jobs, and being a better, more productive and functional member of society. So I'm totally with you on that. But there, of course, there is a difference between an education like that and then a product like JTC. JTC is educational, but should it be free because it's educational? No, because they are running a private business, not handing out qualifications to people. Yeah, totally. The fingerings being different to make things easier. He plays Scarified the way he does now because it's easier to play it that way. You try and play it the original way, it's so hard. Oh, and so Karim said, how do you sync Transcribe, the video, and Guitar Pro? So only half of those are synced. The audio and the video are synced because this is also Transcribe. The audio in Transcribe and the video in Transcribe, they are the same program. So they are playing the same thing. You have to have the G Streamer plugin for Transcribe, but that's on their website. That's free. So you can load videos into Transcribe, and that's just totally fine. The video and the Guitar Pro aren't synced, and I don't have the audio in Guitar Pro. I always do that at the end. I add the audio as the final sort of icing thing. Yeah, that's the way I do that. Because as you notice, I don't press play in my transcription as I'm doing it. I don't need to, because I'm hearing the notes as I'm putting them in, you know? So, and with something like this, memory is important. So I hear this, and then I can go dagga 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 dagga, and I know it. So now, because I've internalized it, I don't need to listen to it again. So it's ba ba ya ba 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 ya ba ba da da ba rest ba ya ba. It's like that. And then, so you could do it in smaller phrases. I hear the first part, Ba ba ya ba. Ba ba da da. Pentatonic, right? Ba da dum. Is that on the beat? Yeah. So ba da dum. Then he plays this up the octave. Yes, grab your guitar, Saturn. Play some music. Music is always the way. You never realise that Transcribe has video support. Yeah, it does. Like I say, you have to install that GStreamer plugin, but that's on the Transcribe website. I wouldn't put pinch harmonics in either. Because Guitar Pro makes pinch harmonics look awful. He bends it. I would put the bend in. Then so same as before, but he just changes where he plays. Yeah, like that. I always pressed triplet instead of dotted note. So he misses the repeat here. So I'll actually put that in. It's not intended, obviously, but it's slightly different. So up here, where he played a note on the wrong string, the intention is, we know what the intention is. We know what the riff is, right? And the rhythm is all correct. Whereas in this instance, to write it as this, when he clearly didn't play this, that would feel very wrong to me. So I'll write the what he's played here. As his up there. Ba ba ya ba. Yeah. Same thing. Ba ba ya bo, ba ba ya bo, ba da bo, ba da bo. Pardon me if I don't know. Have I ever transcribed any of Michael Romeo's VHS solos? Every single one of them, Saturn. Every single one of them. Go on my YouTube channel. Just look for Michael Romeo, and I've transcribed every single solo that's on the guitar chapter. Yep. Ba ba ya da. Ba ba ya bo, ba ba ya bo. Ba da 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 da. Ba ba ya da. Da 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 da. So I'll copy paste and correct. I put a lot of time into those Romeo videos. Like, Michael Romeo is hands down my favourite metal guitar player of all time. Okay. Yeah, it is a triplet there. And I have to make my enharmonics correct, even though I'm going to take all of the notation off when I post it on YouTube. Yeah, and we have a time signature shift here. I put a bar of 2 in. It's the way I like to count this, going as though we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And obviously there's a bit of a rowl in there because there's no groove, but that would be the way I would count it rather than pretending that it's all in 4. Yeah. Every Michael Romeo's playing is scary. The whole Divine Wings Tragedy album is scary. Everything that they've made is scary. I would go as far as saying that Divine Wings is one of my least favourite Symphony X albums. Not because it's not great. I like it a lot. But I've heard it so many times. The only one that Damnation Game. I guess the self-titled is obviously their worst album. Then I would say probably Damnation Game, then Paradise Lost, then Divine Wings for me. Twilight and Olympus, Divine Wings, they're kind of on par. But I think the New Mythology Suite is better. I think that the Odyssey is obviously better. I think that Iconoclast is better. That's where they sort of really come into their... Well, it's not really come into their sound, but they've certainly evolved into a more metal band than a prog band at that point, and I really like that era. But yeah, Odyssey, still absolutely love that record. I listen to that record still quite often. The other thing with Divine Wings is it sounds like an early 90s album in terms of production, whereas the Odyssey sounds like a much more modern album in terms of production. So... Yeah, okay. So... He does hit that. Like that. So bar 2 there. So we'll have this, I'll put the... We'll put the D in there so we can hear that. Feels wrong to have the major third in there, but he definitely plays it. Oh no, he doesn't. Oh shit. Let's make it a power chord. That feels more rock. Damnation Game is the best for me. Wow. Masterclass composer. For me, the thing I don't like about Damnation Game is Russell's voice. He's like not... It's his first album in the band, so he's being very like James LeBrie there. He's singing in that high register a lot, and as they go on, Russell clearly becomes more comfortable in the lower register. So he sings with a lot more grit and power as they go on. It's a different type of power in there, yeah. You're not kidding anybody, Steel is real. Go and listen to Bluegrass. It's like you hear a tapped harmonic there, but he's clearly not doing one. I did one of the Richie Kotzen ones. It was the outro solo. I did the Richie Kotzen outro solo. Let me double check it's that, because the intro solo to that video is where he comes off the pinball machine. That's this game sure would be better if it was a Richie Kotzen game, which makes no sense, Richie. Yeah. It's all there on YouTube. In this case, for free, right? Just checking emails. It's always that panic. Getting an email from YouTube is never something you want. No, nobody. It did me once. I also only listened to the first album once. I'm like, oh no, it's not Russell Allen singing. This isn't Symphony X. What was I saying? Richie Kotzen, free. I don't know. It's gone. It's gone. I'm just trying to avoid the thing that I don't want to have to do, which is the free time Paul Gilbert shredding thing. So. There's definitely a harmonic there, but ignore me. So. Stupid buttons. That was an email from YouTube. Yeah, you never want to receive an email from YouTube, especially because I don't get comment notification emails from YouTube. The only time I get an email from YouTube is when fucking April Malmsteen has filed another false copyright strike on one of my videos that she's never going to fight in court. She's just trying to get you to not, talk about Malmsteen. Don't worry, bitch. I'm not going to ever make a video on that stupid donut munching cunt again. But yeah, those are the only time you get emails from YouTube. And to tell you that you're live on your own channel. It's like, I know. I'm doing it. Hey Levi, is there a way to use Guitar Pro to say tab out some licks or examples with bar breaks and space in between them? The bar, if I understand what you're saying correctly, so I'm in design mode now, which there's this button up here. See this one I'm clicking up here? This puts on design mode, and you can use that to change bars, bar length. So if I wanted 3 measures on line, you could do that. Having like a full empty space between examples, it doesn't do that very well. You can sort of create something similar by just having, like, let's say, for example, I was doing that here. If I put a section on there, if I put like EX2 here, so this is exercise 2, that will create a little bit of separation between them, but maybe not as much as you want. You can also have like blank bars between exercises, but yeah, it's not something I do. Yeah, the thing you always have to remember with Guitar Pro is like it's great piece of software, but it's not a notation. It's not notation software. It's I can only assume that Guitar Skills is Richard Duarte. How's it going, bud? One of the most scarily talented musicians I've ever met. Like a freak of music. How did you learn to transcribe, and how should I start and practice it? That's a really good question, Drews. Well, I'll tell you what, let me just do this. This video is brought to you by guidedpracticeroutines.com, the place to access my full library of lessons, courses, transcriptions, and guided practice routines. With my unique teach then practice format, we practice together and progress faster. Check it out at the link in the description. I've got to sell you something, right? How did you learn to transcribe, and where should I start and practice it? Cool. So it's been a long process for me. I've been transcribing I think I started transcribing when I was about 16, maybe 17, definitely around that period. And I'm now 37. So I've been transcribing for 20 years. And I've been transcribing almost every day for 20 years, right? So the first thing to remember is there's not a magic pill you can take. It's just something that you get a little bit better at every single day. The other thing is, prior to me starting transcribing, I was trying to learn to read music. I was reading a lot. I would buy tab books for albums. I remember having like the tab book for like System of a Down's Toxicity, which oddly the cover for that was the album artwork, but it was red, not the standard version that you saw on the album. But I did learn that the special edition version of the physical CD also had the red cover. So for whatever reason, that tab book, yeah. But I had so many tab books as a kid. I used to buy them. I worked a little paper round, 2 paper rounds actually. I get paid like 12, maybe £14 a week for that, and I used to go into Ipswich when I lived in England, and it would have been Virgin Megastores, I guess, at the time. They used to have tab books in there, and they would be 2 for £22. So I would buy 2 tab books every few weeks, and yeah, I would sit with the album on, and I would try and read the tab book, try and understand the thing that I'm hearing looks like that, and this thing that I can see sounds like that. So you're working on that skill of building a connection there. You have to remember that transcribing is reading in reverse. Transcribing is reading in reverse. Right now, while I'm transcribing this, I'm hearing a thing, and I know what that thing looks like when you write it down. And it's so important to understand that if you can't see a thing written down and work out what that thing is going to sound like, you'll never be able to hear a thing and know what it's going to look like. You have to have an understanding of the written language. So it's a tandem skill thing. You have to work on reading, and you have to work on actually doing the transcription. And yeah, I've got an ear training course on guided practice routines, and I've got a reading course that I'm building out. Both of those I'm building out on guided practice routines, GPR. Those are both skills you have to work on in tandem, and ear training can genuinely be as simple as this, right? Let me be really clear. This is not really ear training. What interval is that? It is ear training. You can hear that and go, that's a sixth, da da da. You can do that, but that's a party trick. It's not a practical skill. At no point while I've been transcribing this have I ever played one note, heard the next note, and then gone, the interval relationship between that is, and then used that. I don't do any of that when I'm transcribing, because that's not what we do. The first ear training skill that you have to work on to help with your transcription is simply this, right? Hear that note. And you have to be able to go, da, da. I'm way out of my register. Let's go here. Da. And then you have to be able to find that note on your instrument. Not instantly, but you have to confidently be able to take any note, do, and be able to find that note. And then as you develop that skill, the lines get longer, and you have to be able to hear that. Ba da da do da. Ba 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 boo ba. That's an ear training skill, right? You don't have to be able to say, ba ba, I'm going up a semitone, then down a semitone, down a tone, down a minor third, down a tone, up a tone. That I'm not thinking like that, but I am hearing ba ba da ba da boo da. And because I've got those pitches really internalized, I could again sit and talk to you for 5 minutes, then pick up my guitar and still hear ba 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 boo ba, and find those pitches for you. So you start with simple phrases like that. You transcribe simple melodies. You don't go, I'm going to start with a Michael Romeo solo. I'm going to start with a Malmsteen solo or anything like that. It's really painful, but and one of the things that I started with on Guided Practice Routines, the website where I'm teaching this skill, we did a Shadows song, Hank Marvin, because Hank tends to just play melodies to songs. So whatever it happens to be, you have to just be able to hear and sing the melody, and then find those notes. And if we do the same thing with what I'm doing here with Paul Gilbert, right? So, screen your face. When I hear this phrase, ba ba ya da do, ba ba da da do. I'm singing an octave lower. Ba ba ya da do ba ba da da do. He's not playing that there, he's playing it there. And notice I played the wrong note. I went da, and I can hear the note that I'm writing in transcribe is wrong, so I need to correct it. Da, that's the note that I'm looking for. Make sense? Cool. Let me check, see if I've missed anything. Yeah, April is Malmsteen's. Well, it's not actually her name, but that's what she pretends her name is, because she wants people to think that she's from Paris, from France, but she's actually from Turkey. And you can find all of this if you go online and have a look. You can find the lawsuit against her and Malmsteen, where they were being evicted from their house, where their house was being foreclosed on. Oops. No, I've not heard Cesaro. No. Maybe it's a matter of using Guitar Pro for tabs, then pulling images of the tabs into something else for formatting. You could do that. Yeah, you could totally do that. I've been through every sort of ear training thing that you could possibly do. And obviously I went to music school, and I just found that the ear training that they give you in music school is nonsense. It's just total nonsense. Because I can confidently say I have a better ear than any single one of the teachers that were teaching me ear training in school. But that's because, what are they teaching you? They're just teaching you to hear two notes and then say what the relationship between those two notes is. And it's just not a real world practical skill. It's just, what's really useful to us is being able to hear something like a chord like this. And I'm not hearing the intervals in there. I can break it down and think in terms of intervals, but I use terms in my ear training teaching like emotional resonance. How does this chord make me feel? Where does this chord, like what do I expect this chord to do? Wants to go there, right? And so you use cues like that, you learn to be able to pick out melody notes to chords, being able to really hear any chord that I play, like that chord I keep playing. But I can hear that bass note really confidently, and you don't learn by going. What interval is that? That doesn't teach you to hear a chord, a complicated sounding chord. Let me play a more interesting sounding chord. Oh, I've unplugged my ears. There we go. So if I play like, let's do this. Maybe put this in there. Play it up the octave so you can hear it a bit clearer. When I play that, I can hear that bass note really confidently. Hear that top note really confidently. Those are skills that you don't develop by just doing the traditional way of doing things. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the only one that can teach you ear training. I'm obviously not, but I just think that the more traditional ways that ear training is taught and the way you expect it to be taught is giving you the thing that you think you need rather than the thing you actually need. That's my thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. Go buy some groceries. Yes. I can't remember if that was a G sharp. It might have been. Oh Christ, there's a lot of comments. Let me keep up. Take it easy. Yes. Transcribe a little Guthrie lick. Yeah. And stuff like that is important. But if you use that same approach of hearing the lick, singing the lick, then finding the lick, building that relationship between hearing a thing and internalizing it, the singing of the thing or the humming of the thing, or even just humming it internally, not externalizing it. That's the skill that I think people are often missing. They're trying to jump from hearing the thing and then trying to find that thing on your instrument. It's like, you've not internalized it yet, which is going to make it hard. Transcribing Romeo is hard, yes. So Noak P, yeah. I did make that joke at the start. I can transcribe the entire first half of this, yes, without listening to it, of course. But the guitar solo on this one's got some cool stuff in there. How do you tackle transcribing trickier chord voicings? I've always sucked at it. Yeah, really, really simple answer to that, Mineral Slim. Much like I said that in order to be able to transcribe, no, not transcribe. Yeah, no, in order to transcribe, that's reading in reverse. I think of transcribing harmony as experience in reverse, right? So what I mean by that is on your guitar, if you're familiar with, let's actually play this on guitar so you can hear it, because that will make sense. That will make more sense. I'm not going to sit and give you a guitar lesson, right? But if I plug my guitar in and I play this chord, most guitar players, many guitar players, certainly the demographic that I teach, they can immediately tell me what that chord is. They don't have to think about it. They know what that chord is. It's a 7-sharp 9 chord, and they know it because they think of it as being the Hendrix chord, okay? So how is it that they've memorized that? How is it that any time I hear that chord, I don't have to go looking for it? Well, it's because I've experienced it. I've spent a lot of time building a connection between the voicing, how it physically sounds, how it physically feels on the instrument, and connecting it to the way it sounds. It's the same thing with any chord voicing, but you just need to learn more chord voicings. That's my approach to these things, because you could... I'm not great at transcribing Alan Holdsworth chords because his chord repertoire doesn't exist in my vocabulary. Whereas when I listen to Joe Pass, there's no chord voicing that Joe Pass is going to play where I'm not going to immediately know what it is. You know, if Joe plays, I don't have to look for that. I know what that chord is. If Joe played, I don't know why you would. I'm not having to go and look for a voicing like that. You know, if it's the jazz guys voicings like this, I'm experienced with voicings, and when I hear a voicing like that, I know what that is. When I hear this, I know I don't have to go looking for it, and that just makes your life... I know this voicing because I've played it on my instrument. So what I'm getting at is you have to learn a tremendous amount of chord voicings on your instrument and not just think of your instrument as a thing that you use to play solos on. And I've done exactly the same thing on the piano. When I sit at the piano and I take a chord voicing like this, this beautiful minor 11 voicing. Maybe put the C in there. I don't want to struggle when I hear that played by a pianist. I've spent a lot of time at the piano learning harmony on it for that reason. So now when I'm listening to harmony played at the piano, I don't have to go looking because I know how pianists play things. I know how they voice things. So being able to do that on the guitar, being able to do that on the piano, that's been the one that's been really good for me. Malmsteen ran out of money. I don't know what the deal with that is, you know, but I just think that I know that there's a very dysfunctional relationship going on there. Like Malmsteen has a son, and he has left the family home and changed his name and lives in Japan now and has completely distanced himself from them because it was too dysfunctional, and that's his words, not mine. So on the money with this way of ear training. Yeah, man. That's why I have success as an ear training teacher. And more importantly, that's why I make a living from my ears. And other people that teach ear training make a living teaching ear training. Because marketing is better than having the skill. And I have the skill with the ears. And let me be clear, I wasn't born with it. I sucked when I started transcribing. It was awful. Why I figure out something by ear and not just looking at the tabs, it feels I've actually learned something. Yeah, exactly. Happy to show you the process. Question's very unrelated. I'm currently playing little swingier tunes, all of me. That's a nice tune. Can you help me with any advice to work on my jazz swing phrasing? Yeah, absolutely. The important thing with swing phrasing is it's all about learning what swing is. Swing is about forward motion. Swing is about forward motion. And I can talk pretty confidently on this because I think if I look at my guitar playing, if I had to remove everything I have and only keep one thing, you would do it with the thing that you're probably best at. And I think my swing feel is up there with the best of my abilities. You have to understand what swing is. Swing is about forward motion. People often think that swing is about long note, short note, right? Da, 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 da. But they miss the point. The whole point of that long note, short note is that the short note pulls back to the long note. It creates a sense of forward motion. You never want to play da, 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 and finish there because it wants to pull back to the strong beat. So swing is about forward motion. When you understand that, you can also understand that those upbeats are important because they help to pull us forward. So what you should take from that is you should learn to start accenting your upbeats. So again, not turning this into a guitar lesson, but let me grab a guitar. So if I play any, like if I just play a Mixolydian scale, A Mixolydian, if I play there's no real sense of swing in that, even though I'm technically swinging. Whereas when I go now, you shouldn't swing like that. You shouldn't literally accent every upbeat because things are going to sound ridiculous. But understanding that those upbeats are where the swing happens, when you listen to me play a scale and put them in a natural way, we might go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm putting those accents on upbeats. When I do my pull-offs or slurs, I would never go and play a pull-off at the start. It would always be because I'm accenting an upbeat, right? So that's the idea. And when you take that to its logical extreme, and I play like just the first 4 chords of all of me, just checking they're right. So if you analyse my phrasing there, I'm accenting my upstrokes to create that sense of forward. But da but da da ga to ga da ba ba da boo da. That's the idea. Which is the opposite of technical difficulties. It's a different type of technical difficulties. Piano is more difficult to transcribe than guitar because of what you mentioned. You experience guitar chords. Exactly, that's what it is. And now I've spent so much more time on the piano. When I hear voicings on the piano, I'm like, I know what that is. Swing feel for me is like take step for too much time. You almost trip. Thank you so much. Yeah, 2 follow-ups. Can you give me basic exercise to work on developing the accent dynamic? Are there any albums or players that you recommend that are masters of swing feel phrasing? I mean, literally, you just have to go into early jazz, don't you? Any jazz. If you listen to Chet Baker, master of swing feel. If you listen to Sidney Bechet, master of swing feel. But if you go into someone like Charlie Parker, master of swing feel. If you listen to, for me, like I'm a Pat Martino guy, like Pat Martino, master of swing feel. And I think the real magic of swing, the thing I didn't demonstrate there, is that when you swing, drop my pick, you get to control that forward motion. So I can go, if I play that a little bit faster. Let's not do that. Let's do like Take the A Train. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So over this, you can swing, you can go, but you can also play totally straight. You can go, that sounds different, and a great swing player will push and pull their swing. It will be, so I'm pushing and pulling. But, you know, how did I develop a swing feel? How did I develop that? I listen. I listen to so much swing music, you know. I listen to so much gypsy jazz, and I listen to so much, that early swing and Dixieland music. And, yeah, so swing is just like really tightly ingrained in me. And I just know that when I pick up the guitar, and if I just play a blues, it's gonna swing like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. it's just swing. You know, I just live for that swing feel. And practicing with metronome on 2 and 4, right? It's so funny to me, like, because I pick up a guitar and that's how I play. I am. My soul is swing. Yeah, I'm sat here doing Paul Gilbert's Technical Difficulties because that's where I came from. There's an evolution that's happened in my playing, and I like all of it, you know. But yeah, Ibanez AZHSS or Strandberg Bowden Standard HSH. What should I buy? What do you think is better for gigs? I'm going to say the Ibanez, and the reason I'm going to say the Ibanez is visuals mean a lot. The way something looks means a lot. When you turn up to I guess it depends what type of gigs you're doing. If I were to turn up with a Strandberg, the audience make assumptions about your playing before they hear your playing, is what I would say. The Ibanez looks a lot more traditional, so people are going to think you're probably a more traditional player, whereas I think headless guitars, people think space age and modern and advanced and like, oh, this guy's really nerdy. Totally great if you're playing, I guess, in like a metal band or a prog band, but for me, I play in a soul band, so that wouldn't work for me. You're very welcome, Henderson Guitar. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Henderson Guitar. I'm not going to say never, but I'm pretty much not doing any more books with fundamental changes. Not for lack of love for fundamental changes and the relationship. I still do some work with them. I'm doing some transcriptions for them today after I'm done with this. But I'm just so focused on guidedpracticeroutines.com. Like, I'd love to give you guys more more books, written stuff, but I can give you videos. And on Guided Practice Routines, I've got like over 200 hours of video lessons. Like, my video lessons are going to be better than my books. So yeah. The software is neither Tab Pro nor Power Tab. It's Guitar Pro. How long do you think it would take someone to learn the shortcuts on that tablature software? That's a really good question. I guess it depends how quickly you learn things. I think I give people the same advice, right? What you want to do when you learn this software or any software is you want to take the panel on the left, which is where all the buttons are, which you'd normally be going over and clicking, hover over them and learn what they are. Okay, this button is clef. Do I need to use clefs very often in my playing? Almost never, but I can remember that if I want it, it's K for clef. If I hover over key signature is something I do put in. So Command K, K for key, makes sense. Time signatures I use, again, Command T, that makes sense. Swing feel, this is something that I don't have to do very often. So because I don't have to do it very often, I don't mind pressing the button. I don't need to memorize where that is. Same with free time, same with double bar lines and repeats. As you go through this though, you're going to start to learn the important things. Whole note, half note, quarter note, you can see they're all the same, plus and minus. So learning very quickly that when I'm on a note, pressing plus will shorten the note and pressing minus, that's not minus, I fucked it. There. Pressing minus lengthens the note, right? So I can just with pluses and minuses change the length of my note. And then because I've got my arrow key to move on to the next note, I can do that very quickly. And my fingers on my keyboard are right. I'm using a number pad, so I've got the numbers. So anything I need to play, if I want... You know, I can write things out very quickly with just the one hand. So those are the important ones. But there are other things that you're going to use, like quite often... Dynamics you're probably not going to use. I use the N harmonics, which is Command Option 8. Command... No, let me think about this. Yeah, no, it's not Command, it's just Shift. So Shift and 0 I know is to change a note to a tapped note. Yeah, so you just have to essentially... You don't need to learn everything, but knowing what all of these buttons are, or where they are. Triplets are something I use all the time, and I know that I can use the slash key in order to make a triplet. So I think doing that is really, really useful. Yeah, and you just said R for rest, absolutely. Plus and minus for rhythm. So I didn't point out the rest. That's a good one to point out. Very important one. And slash for triplets. Yeah. Also the star key for a dotted rhythm. That one is use that a lot. Hammer for legatos. Yeah, absolutely. L for the tie is another one that I use. I use I quite a lot as well, which is let ring. So I'll click and drag a section and just press I, and that will put a let ring on there. So the more you experience, you get by with just a few, and then when you start using a certain thing more often, rather than having to go click it, you just learn the shortcut. We know like palm mute is going to be a P, right? What else? V is vibrato. I don't tend to put vibrato in my transcriptions. Here, where you have the swells, so fade in. It totally makes sense. Yeah, it's the literal the hairpin thing. I guess the lesser than value on the keyboard, and I've never remembered that, because I don't use it very often. Now, I'm annoyed at myself because it's so obvious that's what it is. That's like, what else would you assign it as? So every single time I need to do that volume swell thing, I have to go over here and click that. But it happens so infrequently that I don't mind it. But now I'm kicking myself because, well, now I know. Oh no, that's incorrect. Slide does give you the proper slide. Slide gives you a proper slide. I love your distinction there. So you're distinguishing the difference between legato slide and shift slide. So a shift slide is, I'm not going to call it not a proper slide. If I put shift slides on those, right, it doesn't help you when they're not stretched out. If you're wanting these as your proper slides, then you're not using slides correctly, because this would be, you play all of these notes. All of these notes are played with the same finger. You're just shifting between them. So you pick this note, you pick this note, and you pick this note. But you're just sliding the finger down as you're doing it. Whereas a legato slide would be you pick this note and you slide down to this note. You don't play that next note. I'm not going to disagree with you in saying that it's ugly. It's just different. The problem with your approach there, and I'll bring myself out on guitar for this. The problem with your approach there is my entire playing style is a combination of legato slides, but also shift slides. So I'll go. So I make those shifts. When I'm making those shifts, sometimes it's nice to have a way that you can write things like that out and distinguish that this isn't a slide, it's a shift. Because otherwise you end up writing just 4 consecutive notes. And the problem there is that some people make they see 4 consecutive notes, they go, oh, you must just be playing that 4 fingers per fret. And it's like, no, there's a shift there, and it's happening in a specific place. So that's my approach. Yeah, don't go back and edit your transcriptions. Look, Guitar Pro, the actual Guitar Pro is on. Hello, guys. Nice to see you. But yeah, I think that's what the intention is between those two things. And it is in the name, isn't it, when you actually look at them. One is called legato slide, and we know what legato means. It means smooth. And the next one is called shift slide, and that would make sense, right? This is when we're shifting. Iron Brew Extra. Extra taste, no sugar. I'd love a sponsorship from Iron Brew. They're never going to give me a sponsorship, obviously, which is a shame because, they're only like 5 miles down the road. But big props to Iron Brew for 2 reasons. One, Iron Brew Extra, I like it just as much as regular Iron Brew. But big props to them on their branding, because Coke have a no sugar version and they call it Coke Zero. But Iron Brew, they could call this Iron Brew Zero sugar. No, they call it Extra. And their slogan is extra taste, no sugar. That's good marketing. That's clever. That's good. When you look at Iron Brew Extra, the marketing says you're getting more. Whereas when Coke Zero is called Coke Zero, you're like, oh, I'm getting nothing? I'm getting less? Extra. I like that. It's good branding. And 0 sugar, so you don't need to feel guilty. Anyway, let's do some more transcribing. Is there any preliminary before you take my ear training course. No, my ear training course on guided practice routines starts at the most basic level that you could possibly imagine, i.e. find this note on your instrument. Not even what is this note called, right? Literally, here's a sound, find this note on your instrument. I don't even, when you find it, you don't even have to say that's an E. It's literally just find this note on your instrument. We start with that because that's the important skill, being able to hear a note and find it. We then, I have a Learning the Notes course, which is really, really well constructed. I'm very proud of how that came out. Yeah, by all means go through that, and then you'll be in a position where when you hear a note and you find it, you won't think about it, you'll just say what the pitch is. But it's not where we start, because I designed my course around somebody who's a beginner or somebody that's been misled for a long time. Anyway, I'm distracting myself. Let's do this. So let's not do that. Now this is problematic because this is all free time, right? So we have to make this look good, and then we can use the functionality of Guitar Pro to sync it. So I'm asking myself, when I hear that as being a downbeat, which is here, so all of this has to be the first two beats. And I think, I don't like this because it doesn't feel like he's so you have options here. We can either put a group of 5 and then a group of 6. But this, from a rhythmic perspective, would be what I would call a gear change. This, you're playing a group of 5, then you're playing a group of 6. This is in a beat, this is in a beat. So this would be slower than this. And it doesn't sound like he slows down, right? You have to remember that when it comes to transcribing, some things are actually untranscribable, right? If I play this on the piano, our way of transcribing that is non-existent because we have a functional beat that we write in relation to, whereas that is accelerating, and our notation doesn't really lend itself to that, right? So if he started here and ended here and is accelerating while he's doing that, we don't have a good way of writing that. This creates a facsimile of that, but it's not the same thing. This is group of 5 and then accelerating to a group of 6. This is a gear change. But I don't really hear that, so I would actually just write this as a group of 11, like that. I'm just going to put a long group on this. And we're asking ourselves, so ba-da-da. So then you get in this place where you're like, this is quantizing at its best. I perceive this as being on the beat, even though there is no beat here. And I perceive this as being the end of the beat. He actually... Ba-ba... But these are definitely, so yeah, something like this isn't going to notate all that well. So we can go 11, but now if we just quantize and make these 6s, just so it's tidy on the page. Because the nature of a thing like this is you're not going to play this to a metronome click. You're not going to practice this and accelerate it. You're just fitting it in, right? Thank you very much for tuning in, Hollywood actress. If for whatever reason you're not subscribed to my channel, please do hit that subscribe button and share my videos with your friends if you enjoy them. If you don't enjoy them, share them with your enemies. So I hear this as being my downbeat. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 notes there, which makes sense that you would do the slide a little bit faster. But yeah, this is not, you don't read like this. This is not how you read. because this is very obviously a group of 4, and that's ugly, so we don't want that. Yeah, so this phrase I'm definitely hearing as my downbeat. Yeah. So I have to fix this. I'm never going to make that 4. I just wouldn't allow it. So heavy quantizing going on here. Then this phrase is my 6, and then we get into the Paul Gilbert, the trademark, and I hate this because this is notating this is a fuck up. You could perceive this as being 8s, daga daga doga daga, which I might allow, but I'm gonna hate the way it looks. But that's, yeah. Seven, I think. Does he do the double picking on that? Yeah, we want this to fall on the beat, so I'm going to just quantize this. I'm going to make this 15. 15 and 16. Like this. So I can land on the beat. This will go up on YouTube. And this goes up to, yeah, it goes up a minor third on that. Then we got noise. Now, let's have fun. So if I go back to the start of the audio, now you can see where the magic happens in my transcriptions. So if I start there, that's where the groove starts. If I then just do this, and then we go File, Export Sound File. I just do a low res version of this, and a compressed MP3, sample rate 22050, because we don't need this to be like high quality. We don't want the guitar profile to be too big. Now if I go into my clip grab, where I've exported that, we've now imported the audio. So now when I come here, I can start making the adjustments in the sync of the file. This looks good, but not. So it's really here, right? So it's like 130. So we put 130 in just as a visual marker. Ah, fucked it. So you're just putting a little bit of time in here, making these tighter. So having just this is helpful. Now I'm doing this every sort of 3 or 4 bars rather than every bar. So here's our downbeat for the chord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where this lands. So it'll be there. And then from there, we can tighten this up. So here is where I'm actually hearing the third beat of that. So that's the 10th fret. That's that 12th fret. So here. There. So now get my hammer-ons in there. That's fine, isn't it, right? And now if I take the, we can hear the MIDI play along with it and see if it's acceptable to us. But I'm not looking for accuracy in a three time section. We'll make the solo accurate because it's played to a groove. But that'll do, you know? That's for learning purposes. This is, and I always think of my transcriptions as that, right? It's a learning tool. It is not a show. It is, I guess, a showcase of my ability. I do these in public, so people can see that I'm good at what I do. But you don't want. There's a transcriber, and you know, I hope he sees this. We've never met, we've never spoke, but I'll throw shade at him. Otto Renier, I forget. When you look at his transcriptions on YouTube, they're by and large awful because they're too accurate. If somebody plays a note a 64th late, you don't notate it a 64th late because then it becomes impossible to read. The idea of my transcriptions is that they are learning tools and you should be able to use them and interpret them. When you're writing transcriptions with rhythms that people could never read, you haven't created a transcription. You've created a masturbatorium to your own level of accuracy. And that's just not... I'm not in the game for that. I'm a teacher. Plus, this way's faster. Just dealing with my emails, guys. Sorry, 2 seconds. I see I've got a lot of emails coming. Obviously, all spam and all deletable. Because who wants to talk to me? Check YouTube, Facebook even. What do you want? I'll have to deal. That's a business thing. I'll have to deal with that after this stream. But business friend, if you're watching and you've seen that I have seen your message and I haven't responded, it's not. I will. Don't worry. Okay, let's get on to the rest of it. So. So you could mute these, obviously. Now from here we should be able to copy paste, right? With 16th notes as the last group. Same as before, but the power chord is now higher. So we are on G. Same as before, but we've now got a G as the power chord. So exactly the same as before. I'll show you another time-saving tool. This little tiny time saver. Write that chord in, copy it, Control-C, Control-V. Oh, what did I do wrong there? What went wrong? Ah, okay. I see why that's done that. Yep. So, because I've put a forced beam here, it's keeping that information, which is forcing it to beam into the next notes, which I actually don't want. So I thought I'd save time, and then I made a little problem for myself, which I then had to diagnose. Good work, Levi. So this is similar, but not the same. It's that. Now, this is what... Now you see why I don't sync the track as I'm going, because now I feel the need to go back and go... You can see this is really on the transient, so that's good. Now, of course, this isn't a problem when you're transcribing something where the person has recorded the thing to a click track. This is recorded to a drummer, an actual band, and I'm pretty sure they didn't use a click track. There's a little bit of push and pull. Do you ever practice transcribing at fast speeds? When you say at fast speeds, do you mean things that are fast or transcribing as quickly as I can? Because generally speaking, when I'm not doing a stream like this, and I'm transcribing a video for YouTube, I'm doing that as fast as I can. Because I don't have the time. I'm too busy with, guidedpracticeroutines.com or fundamental changes, transcription work, or many of the clients that I work with. I'm doing an album for somebody at the moment. I've got a lot of stuff on. I've got too much happening to spend a lot of time doing things. So without slowing down the audio. So I think that slowing down the audio a little bit, you want to slow down as little as possible. Yannick Guizdala made a video many years ago saying that you shouldn't transcribe audio when you slow it down, because then you're making it easier for yourself. And when you make it easier for yourself, you're not getting better. And it's a flawed thinking. And the reason it's a flawed thinking is because if you transcribe something that is already slow and it's presenting no challenge for you and it's easy for yourself, are you doing it wrong unless you speed it up then? Every time you transcribe, should you be making it difficult for yourself? I think the thing that is a demonstration of the skill is how quickly you process the thing. So, and how much you need to slow it down in order to be able to confidently process it. So when I'm doing stuff on my own and it's just for YouTube and I'm trying to go through it as quickly as possible, I might hit down to 80% sometimes, but I'm going to keep it 100% most of the time because, to be honest, I don't need to slow it down most of the time. Whereas in a setting like this, I am slowing it down a little bit more so you guys can hear the thing slowed down. I'm trying to give you guys that courtesy, but not to the point where I want to bring it down to... because that's too much, right? But yeah, realistically, I wouldn't need to slow this down. This is obviously fine. Hey Levi, I love your work. Quick question. Did you ever complete the Only Human solo by Advance? If so, where could I buy? It's not my solo to sell, so no. It's on my YouTube channel though. Yeah. You can request whatever you want, man. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Now we've got tapped harmonics. We have to put these in because they're important, right? So, tip for you. For tapped harmonics, it's artificial harmonics. Nope, that's natural harmonics. It's artificial harmonics. It's a tapped harmonic, and it does have the tap. I have my default set to not display the information, but you can, if you want, under File Style Sheet, Notation, you can come down into Symbols, and you can have it indicate where the string is touched for artificial harmonics. Then it's going to look like this. Generally speaking, I don't have that turned on, and the reason I don't have that turned on is because it's very, very rare. I can think on there's a handful of players that when they do the tapped artificial harmonics, they're not just 12 frets higher. Yeah, they're not just 12 frets higher. So generally speaking, I don't put them on, only because it can often create complications. Because it's not like you can turn on, and if Guitar Pro, you're not still watching Guitar Pro, but maybe I should email you this. When it comes to display where the node is for a harmonic, I want to be able to have it on for tapped harmonics, but I don't want it on for pinch harmonics. You know, nobody is thinking, oh yeah, this pinch harmonic is done at the 34.5 fret. We don't think like that. We don't play like that. So that's silly. I thought I'd mention it. And then now I can copy paste. In fact, I think we should just be able to copy paste the whole thing and then just change. Sorry. It tries to save time, spends time. There. So I think if we do that, we should just be able to correct the alternating bars. So this is going to be like that. And then it's a tapped harmonic at 23, but there's a pre-bend on it. And I also have to put the pre-bend on this note. Let me have a look. Okay, I've saved that video of Joy of Man's Desiring. I'll take a look at it after the stream and see if I think it would be good for YouTube. I've lost you. Where have you gone? Live streaming. There we go. I'll copy paste this and I'll just change the notes. It's a full step bend. Full step bend. And he actually hits doesn't do a tap there. let's have that like that. That feels like a slow bend. Now we get to the actual solo. I keep myself busy with my work, man. I've got so much like paying shit to do. Like I say, I've got an album on the go for someone at the moment, and I've got I've just finished 2 big Martin Taylor projects, but I need to have those signed off on. And then I had some more book related stuff come through that needs to get done. I got a lot of things, and I've got film content for my website. And what do I decide to do? Let's just sit down and do a free video on YouTube. So that's actually on the upbeat there. Is he 17 here? Yeah, it's that mega bend. Yeah, I don't like it, but it is what it is. Oh, fuck's sake. On the wrong string. This solo hasn't started. Let's listen to the solo. Then we go back into the riff. Oh, what am I doing with my life? Yeah, let's write that as... Yeah. Quantizing a little bit there. Let's get this synced for the first 2 bars, and then from there it should be pretty in time. You can see that's transient. maybe. Yeah. Technical efficiency, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that the naming convention for this track comes from that intro riff. In order for you to be able to play that fast and with efficiency, you have to be both good at inside picking and outside picking. And that, for many guitar players, is a technical difficulty. So I think Paul wrote this riff to work on that specific technical difficulty. Now we're getting to the hellish part, okay? Now here we have to slow it down. So this is his cross hand thing, which he got from Billy Sheehan. So now we go, this note is actually tapped. So you could take this one way or the other. And so what we have here is a downside of slowing things down. Yeah, let's do this as 6. Like that. It's a blur, right? Yeah, so this tap note here is our downbeat that you can hear it on the snare drum. So yeah. So we've got 7 notes here, but so I would actually feel that as an acceleration or a gear change. Like that. Double tap. That's a fucker. Like that. Yeah, group of 7. So he actually does tap 16 there. So the note we have here, Christ. It's like a group of 9. But 9 is 9 in the space of 8, not in the space of 4. So it's that. So shifts, not shift slide, legato slide. Aaron, this is the real, like, hellish stuff. No one wants to have to notate this. Da 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 ba ba ba. Now, for when you have this many notes, easily bar per line. Same again. Ba ba ba. So rhythmically here, you're in a nightmare because I've got it slowed down to fucking 26%. But you could hear this as it's not evenly spaced. Da ga da ga go da go da 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3, which puts you in like nested tuplet territory. Yeah, if you wanted to notate this like really accurately, and I won't because I don't like this sort of thing done super accurately, you would have this with these being nested tuplets, 3 in the space of 2. So it would look like this. Then we have to put, unless the tuplets in Guitar Pro don't look good. But yeah, what you're often going to find with these Paul Gilbert type phrases, they're nested tuplets. So this is a triplet inside of another tuplet. Quick question: is this wrong? Instead of grouping the notes but using a bunch of tie notes and finding the right, that's sorry, man. That's really the sentence that really hasn't come together there. Is this wrong? Instead of grouping the notes but using a bunch of tie notes and finding the right solution. There's not a question there. Finding the right quantization, but it looks so messy. When you say finding the right quantization, I think often with transcription, the difference between what I'm doing and what other people are doing is they learn to transcribe by a trial and error. So transcribing the thing and then pressing play in the software and just keep doing that until it sounds right. And that comes from a field of having no understanding of the correct notation formats. Whereas for me, I'm processing this visually in my mind when I listen to the thing, what should the music notation look like for that? So I'm starting with that education rather than getting the MIDI to sound correct, if that makes sense. Da, da. Let's get rid of all of the tuplets on this because this is going to fall apart. Oh, and it's also always worth checking. So from my perception, this is 2 measures, 2 beats. So if we do this, yeah, I'm just checking. What I'm doing there is making sure that this does, my maths has added up on that. It's because it's doing that, it's breaking there. So do I want to do a nested tuplet here? No, I'm okay with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's lumpy. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess technically, you want to be really pedantic. You would write this as that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. But now you're in lumpy territory. And I hate lumpy. Is that tap first? Yeah, so this is a tap. Ya go da 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 da. Yeah, come down to the 15th fret. But then I'm hearing ba-da. Yeah, so there's a tap. Yeah, so we have to get 9 notes in here. Cool, I'm glad you got it. Is this part of... I'm not sure what is this part of freestyle means. Because we've really got like... It's not, but to get the notes in with this. Which I'm okay with. Because if I put the MIDI on with that... Like the notes are all in there, but they're just not perfectly quantized. And you could like be really nerdy and go in and like adjust things, but yeah. Because this is rushed. It's just not oh. Let's get this. Helps if that's quantized, right? You can see this doesn't quite line up. There. He gets the job. He gets the job done. So, ba da ba. This is tapped. Ba ya. Does he go down to the flat 5? Yeah. So yeah, we really want this all in the beat. Let's do this. I'm just going to make it 10 because I want to get through this. I don't want to be here all day. So ba-yada. And from a learning perspective, if you were to study this what we're doing here is we're finding the correct pathway through this in tab form that is logical. Everything I'm doing here makes total logical sense when you're studying this sort of playing. E shape 3 note per string, transition is land on the highest note on the B string, then you tap in order to set up your new position playing, or new string playing, I should say. And then we have E shape, and then we hit this tap, and then we descend down the 3-note per string E shape, and or shape 1, however you want to think about it, and then we use that as our position to shift down onto that flat 5, and then we have a new idea from there. So ba da da da. And he just tap there. And this is definitely on the beat here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a 9, be nice and tidy then. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's fine because he's sort of decelerating at that point. Oh, just another. Just another bar and a half, man. Yeah, you've done well, Levi. You've done 2 bars of it. You just another bar and a half, and then you're good. Every part of me is like, stop the stream, go get some lunch. Oh, my camera's decided it wants to start following me. Don't do that, you stupid dickhead. Okay, what we got here? We can do this. We can totally do. You know what? The secret of getting good at transcribing is much like the secret of anything, like be it exercise or painting or practicing the piano. Right? It's about overcoming yourself. You have to understand that you're battling yourself. Every part of you is going to tell you, oh, just stop now and do something else. But you don't get good unless you push through that. You can't. It's like, okay, this is hard. This is going to take me some time. Let's do it. I can do this. That's the attitude. So we got noise here, but he definitely bums a note in. So, yeah. So this is, how does he make this transition? So he definitely goes down for this, and then makes the transition up to the G string. Ba da da. Ba ba ba. Totally fine with this. Ba 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 ba. Then we use that as our position shift. We do have to make it a 10, which I hate, but I just want to get the notes in place. Because you clearly transition down here, and then your tap is on the beat. So nope. Shift slide there. Now we're in our new position. 1 bar to go of the hellish lick. Ba da da da. Yeah, same thing. Taps there. Taps there. Taps there. Da do da da. Da do do da 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 da. Hits the and then taps. Ba 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 ba. Da do da 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 da. It's not quite the same. Taps to 15. That's a tap. Oh, this is just on my mind. Okay. Stay cool. Yeah. That. We go this. We can go back to 2 bar bar. Right. Let's take a look. Get the sync right. Which is close enough. Now we listen with the MIDI. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Only because I don't want to spend 2 fucking hours on 4 bars of music. Thanks very much. But if you're out there watching, come and say hello. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I needed to deal with that email. Oh, and no more comments are coming, so it's fine. People are sick. People have had enough. Same. Yeah. Uh, what am I doing? What have I done here? Oh. There we go. Now, people don't think of Paul as being a playing over changes player, but he's hitting the chords here, right? D chord lands. Ron E minor. He's on an E minor chord, he's playing E minor, and then that D chord lands, and what does he land on? Ba ba da ba ba, F sharp, which is the third of D. Ba. And then we go, he's on an open D string, so he's like, let me play a big D major arpeggio. So, ba ba. Mm. Yeah. I don't like this 4 in there, but it is in there. But I'll grace note it and make these 7s. Like this. Oh no. That's actually there. Yeah. So, I'm in full-on quantization mode here, right? Ba 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 ya. 6. Now I can confidently say there's no 4 there because he's consistently not putting it there. Right, and we've not even looked at what he plays next, right? But we know harmonically we go from an E minor. Let's go. To a D. We're going to a C major chord here. He's played this big D major triad arpeggio over the D. What's he going to land on here? Ba da da da. Lands on the root, literally on the lands on the root of the chord. Yes, Mike. Yeah. Ba ba dum ba ba. C major pentatonic. But it's like a Lydian. Ba ba ba. There's so many ways to write this. I'm toying with one in my mind now, which is ga 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 da da, like that, which will work. Nested tuplet again. So we got to get our sync. Take this off. There. Yeah, so that's like definitely the correct. Ba ba da da ga do, da da ga da ga do, ba ba da la da 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 ga. RD Shred, afternoon. Hope you are well. I am. Better for catching you here. I mean, I'm hungry. I would really like to stop so I can go and get some pea soup because I made some pea soup. I would like some soup, but. Now, for this is where I would put vibrato. Because I wouldn't notate this as a series of deliberate bends. Does he slide into that first one? No, there's an open. Oh shit! There's an open. D string in there, but he doesn't slide in. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I don't know that I do got this, Mike. I don't want to got this. I don't want to got this. I want to go and look at comments on my YouTube. I just need to mentally prepare myself. I like it when I get comments on YouTube videos. It's like they're daring me. Hey, whenever you can, you please transcribe this amazing Dimebag solo for us. And then there's a link. And then underneath the link, he says, no problem if you can't or simply don't want to. And it's like, you mean when I say, no, I don't want to, you can try and convince yourself it's that I can't? No, I don't want to. Right, where are you? Comments. Hello, Rod Stewart Geek. Nice to see you. Oh, I should check Discord, see if anybody had anything to say on Discord. Oh, look at that. Hello, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening to what? I bring special tidings on this Wednesday. The Dorian mode has now been added to guided practice routines. We have also created a new course page and moved the Mixolydian mode there as well, aptly titled The Modes. And then Roger has said, would the minor scale belong there as well? Yeah, and we're talking about the live stream. Hazard a guess. I hope Levi will chime in after his live stream. Probably just be Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, and Locrian. Yeah, I actually do agree with that. It feels strange to sort of double upload them. Maybe we have an Aeolian section under the modes, and it just links. You click on it, and it immediately takes you to the natural minor course. Yeah. So yeah, we have stuff. It was completely. It's just occurred to me, right? I'm like typing away. I'm like, my fingers are frozen. It's like they're stiff. They're so cold. And then I'm like, I have a fucking aircon in here. Why have I not turned the aircon on when I come in? I made the studio nice and warm. Okay, nothing. Cool. Right. I would assume nothing. I would assume nothing musical is beyond your ability to transcribe at this point. That's not true, Rod. There's a bunch of stuff that like I really, really struggle with. I have some really, really great books on polyrhythms. And let me be really clear. People often get this wrong. There is a huge difference between polyrhythms and polymeters. And so often you see people talking about polymeters, but they describe them as though they are polyrhythms. And they're not the same thing. Polymeters are where you have different time signatures happening at the same time, but they're still within the same rhythmic framework. So, for example, you might have a guitar riff that's in 5/4, but the drummer is playing a 4/4 groove, or a guitar riff that's in 7/8, and the drums are still playing 4/4. That would be polymetric. You would still have to pick one time signature, probably 4/4, and write it in 4/4. But the effect that has is that the riff will, each time it plays, will start an eighth note earlier than it did against the drum groove each time. It's polymetric. Whereas polyrhythms require you to have two different rhythmic frameworks happening at the same time. So eighth notes and triplets happening at the same time are polyrhythms. Now, eighth notes and triplets are the easiest one for you to work on. If I clap them on my body, you have where I'm going 1 2 3 2 2 3 1 2 3. Oh, other hand even 1 2 3 2 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And my left hand is just going 1 and 2 and. That would be a 3 against 2 polyrhythm. You can get into some more complicated ones like. I'm struggling with this. Yeah, this is a 5 against 4. Or I spent some time doing that. So, yeah, Meshuggah is a really good example where the music is polymetric. And yeah, like obviously Bleed is a really good example of that. And it's really cool, but don't get me wrong, polymetric stuff, super cool. And polymetric is actually more enjoyable to listen to because it's not fighting your internal sense of pulse, right? It's just, it's fighting your internal sense of alignment. Polymetric stuff really helps you or really forces you to struggle finding where one is, right? Whereas polyrhythmic stuff, you struggle to feel grounded in anything because you'll have, in a measure of 4, one rhythm will be playing 5 notes per beat, and then during that same beat, another instrument will be playing 3 notes per beat, and in that same time, something will be playing. In fact, I can just do this in Guitar Pro, can't I? So if I go File, New, I'll set up electric guitar track, Add, and then track Add. So I've got 3 guitar parts. I bring them all up. I'm just avoiding transcribing transcribing it. Yeah, Virtual Delight, like he does legitimately polyrhythmic stuff. So if I had one guitar going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that, and then over the top of this we have this is a simple polyrhythmic idea. Now, if I put a palm mute on that, it'd be easier to distinguish. We've got 3s against 2s, but then, of course, it becomes more complicated when we start adding in things like this. If I do, let's do. Now we're getting into really true, like heavy polymetric stuff, where on its own, if I listen to just this part, I'll put a click on. If I listen to just this part and a repeat, why is my click so quiet? Together. But then if we just listen to this is a much more complicated polyrhythmic idea because you're playing 5 notes in every 2 beats. Much more complicated to hear. Sounds like this. Then if you accent the nature of the 2s that's happening. And then bring in. that's polyrhythmic, rather than the guitar thing that you see people do is the polymetric thing that you'll hear is someone will do like. That'll be your 7/8 riff, right? And then they'll just repeat that, but starting here, which will give you this. And then... It's really hard for me to process what's happening here. Yeah, that's a 7/8 riff in 4/4. If you put a 4/4 drum groove against this, it's polymetric rather than polyrhythmic. Anyway, the reason we brought that up is because is there anything musical that I can't transcribe? I fucking suck at processing polyrhythmic stuff. I spent a bunch of time with some really good books on polyrhythms, sort of understanding them, and I spent a lot of time at the piano, forcing myself to play like. Where I'm playing polyrhythms there between my hands. But that's the 3 against 2, and that's the easy one. The most easy of the polyrhythmic things. So I struggle with those, really do struggle with those. The Guitar Pro audio import feature is terrible. Why would you use it? You can't, like, good luck doing this. And Michael, here's the thing, right? Actually, it sounds more normal than I thought it would. That's because I'm demonstrating really simple polyrhythmic concepts there. Because my ability to make really musical stuff with this is just non-existent. It just isn't there, because it's my musical DNA is the blues and blues rooted music. And so my exploration into polyrhythmic stuff like that is just virtually non-existent. It doesn't. Anytime I hear it, it sounds very unnatural to me. So it's not an area I feel comfortable in. It's comfortable spending time in, so I don't. And therefore, you never develop it. You never get better at it. I spend more time listening to swing, so my sense of swing has improved. But my sense of understanding, processing, and imitation and notation of polyrhythms is weak in comparison. So, and my ability to demonstrate ideas in that polyrhythmic concept. Yeah. And of course, I think Mike's sort of alluding to this. You can combine polyrhythmic and polymetric ideas if you want really complicated stuff, but you're just getting into territories there where everything is like infinitely more confusing than it needs to be. Maybe needs to be is the wrong way of looking at it, but yeah. We looked at on my Discord just recently in was it in videos? Let's have a look. I think I posted it in videos. No, it was probably in music theory. Yeah, I posted this nice little analysis that somebody did of some Tigran and Hamasyan stuff, where it's sort of demonstrating the polymetric nature of what's going on here. Where Tigrans are essentially playing. You can see different colours here on screen. All of these are different length phrases, so there's a new rhythm that's been introduced in 3/16, and each one of these is a 7/16 tag, but these all work in a 16th note framework. So when you put it all together, everything still exists in that 16th note framework. So everything feels on the grid. If you started introducing like 5s against 4s in there, or 5s and 3s, and all these complicated rhythms that fight the beat, then you're getting into polyrhythmic territory. Polymetric stuff, far easier to digest. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? I lost where I was. before that. Before that. If you're into that sort of like polymetric stuff, Tigran Hamasyan, wonderful composer, put out a record called Mock Root, which was really cool. I'm pretty sure it's called Mock Root. If I just bring up Tigran for you to see. There's no more Zakk Wylde to be done. I've done it all. So you go check out Tigran's music. It's very, Mock Root was really popular when it came out in 2015, and it's very, to me, when I think of Tigran's music, it's kind of like Animals as leaders at the piano, if that makes sense. It's very playing around with a lot of rhythmic concepts. It's very good, very good, very proficient. Not really my jam. Not something I'm going to listen to a lot, but I certainly respect what he's doing there. It's not there. Ba, ba, ba is a D. Where's he getting that D from? Oh, okay. There's a professionally shot video of Zakk Wylde playing Voodoo Child, because I'm not interested in doing, shitty live clips. Every decent high quality video of a decent length of Zakk that exists, all of the pentatonic hardcore videos, and I did the Aussie live solo. I did do a Pride and Glory live solo. I think I've been there, done it. Anything that's worth doing, I've done. So I would do this as a 4. So he does pick all that, actually. Hammer and then picks. yeah, I'm actually hearing this as. And now you get into ugly territory with all of this. Oh Christ, what am I doing? What am I doing, man? There we go. Now it's really, let's go, 13 is on the beat here. There's a 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 2 beats. 1. Boo da do da da. How appropriate would it be for me to just go and get lunch and just sit here and eat lunch on a live stream? Jesus. See what I'm missing on Discord. What have we got in Learn This Lick? It's just Jeff bragging about showering. Nice. Yeah, well, it does make sense, Rod. I guess the one little chink in your armor there is I'm not watching you. No one wants to see me slurping down soup. Yeah, let's make that triplets. Let's just quantize that. Mukbang transcriptions, yeah. No, I'm supposed to be doing the opposite of eating lots of food. I'm sure y'all won't notice it yet, but weight is falling off me. So here's slide hammer. I'll make that a 7. Oh, nice, Rod. I am. So now my diet is only meat and vegetables. I'm like next to no carb and no sugar. He'll make the transition down here. Now we're in speed territory, right? So it really needs to be nested tuplets here. But I'm not going to do that because I'm lazy. Just get these to line. Take the click off as well. That was a nightmare. Oh. Yeah, so this is definitely... I don't like it to do this, but it's accurate. Yeah. This is very much ba 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 ya da da, ba da ba ba ya da da. No, I don't sell transcriptions that I don't own, because I'm not an asshole. It will go up on my YouTube channel for free. This is a really good example of something we were talking about earlier. That's a shift slide. Da 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 ba ba. Wrong note, but yeah, this is 6. Plays the wrong note. Ba ya da da da. Shift down. And this again is why we would use a shift slide. Or else you'll see people trying to play this fragment 12, 14, 12, 10 using 4 separate fingers, right? Ba ba. Yeah, it's there. No, I don't like it, but it's ugly, but da 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 da. Now we're in the 8s. Now. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's just be lazy and make this a 15. Again, in fast territory like this, a measure per line is usually better, because like, who's reading that? But why do I do this though, guys? Like, look at this. This is a 9-page so far, a 9-page transcription that I've been streaming for 3 hours, man. And I just do this, and then I just post it on YouTube for free. And Paul Gilbert's label monetizes it. They make money on it. I'm just like putting all these hours in, and like, for what? I'll tell you what. This video is brought to you by guidedpracticeroutines.com, the place to access my full library of lessons, courses, transcriptions, and guided practice routines. With my unique teach then practice format, we practice together and progress faster. Check it out at the link in the description. And as a slight aside to that, what's this? As a slight aside to that, as a slight aside to that, if you join Guided Practice Routines on the annual membership, you get a 1 hour free lesson with me. 1-to-1 private lesson, $100 of free value. So check out Guided Practice Routines. I'm sure you'll have some fun there. Let's get this finished. So da ga ga da ga da ba ba da da bo ba ba ya da bo ba da 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 do. Now here you have a descending group of 5 played 3 times, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it makes sense that there's 2 ways you can think about this. You could just evenly space it, 15 in the space of 16. Or you could write it as a nested tuplet. It's a group of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He's hitting those ones on the beats, or well, that's what he's locking into with that. You call it a triplet quarter note. Da da da, where the pick lands, and then da 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 becomes 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. So you could, yeah, I guess technically that would be the right way to write this. From a very technical perspective, you would go. It's going to be a fucker to write this. So we do this. So we're going to go. I don't actually even know if Guitar Pro will handle this. You would do this. You would do this. What are we doing? 3 is there. And then you do this as groups of 5. Yeah. You do 5. You do 5. But it's not. Be that. You want to be really accurate about that. It's that. And then I guess it would make sense if we did the same thing here. So yeah, this is a triplet. This is a nested 6. This is a nested 5. And this is a nested 5. And then like that. Then you put your split here. There you go. There's a really dumb rhythm. But a really accurate one. And then if I wanted to make it look tidy, you do this. Now if I just do this. There, right? Like that. Like that. Yeah, I've got my syncing off a little bit. Yeah, it's assy. I haven't put any time into syncing any of this actually. So what you can do for this sort of thing is if you bring your tempo down in Guitar Pro and go, that's the third beat. Now I'm syncing beat by beat. There. There. Now if we sync this note, yeah, it's actually not in time, is it? Because this lands on the downbeat there. So I need to rejigger this entire thing because that's my downbeat. So this, we can get rid of everything on that. This is 2 beats. No, sorry, this is 2 beats. Let's go back to what I had before. I'm going to treat this as a... let me listen to it. Beat is there. So I'm actually that is what we have in this bar. Again, get rid of the silly tuplets. The silly tuplet experiment. Let's just how do you auto like that? Oh, it doesn't do beams. That sucks. Let's do it all manually. Oh, ba-ya-da-da. There we go. That's 5, 6, 7. Again, feels wrong because he's not accelerating, is he? But Same again, right? Ba ba da bo ba ba ya da bo. 1, 2. Treat this as a 7 again. Oh no. See, it doesn't feel right to have an 8 there. Yeah, downbeat. Boom, boom, ba. Oh, fuck's sake. Boom, ba, ba, da, do. Doesn't actually hit there. We're kind of out of the woods now. Because from here it's very pattern based. So let's have a listen to that. I'm okay with that. If you guys are okay with that, you don't judge me for cutting some corners there after 3 hours. So here we just got 6s, dagada, 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 dagada. Daddle, 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 daddle. We'll just copy paste and change the top note. Da ba daddle, daddle, da da. Have I not copy pasted anything since that? Oh, we're really out of sync. Just the worst. So same ideas, right? We'll copy the first one. So then from there we'll just copy paste a D major. Just copy one. Ba 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 ba. Then a C major. Ba 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 ba. And we're going to stop at that point. I'll finish the last repeat later on today, and I'll get it uploaded to YouTube tomorrow. Oh, A minor, of course. Dorian. Oh, he drops. Let's break my... Okay, and we stop. So, should we have a listen to it? And I'm going to sign off. Let me save it. This goes in here. 2006. Okay. Let's see how good we are. And we've got, 3.5 minutes of transcription there. You know, not terrible. 3.5 minutes of transcription in 3.5 hours is not the worst. Obviously, I would have probably been about 30% faster if I'd been doing it without trying to entertain you guys. So it's really your fault. All right, see how it goes. Yeah, there's definitely some minor sync issues. It drifts a little bit in the first riff, but that's totally fine. I can get that fixed and updated. Cool. Any last questions while I'm here? Anything anyone wants to ask me at all before I say adieu, adieu to you and you and you, which is a bottom reference if anyone gets it. How do you get your beard to look so nice? I don't know, man. Does my beard look nice? So I'm in at the barber's. When am I in at the barber's? That's your answer. Not till next Wednesday. So it's going to get rougher and rougher as the week goes by. Yeah. My rule for having a beard that looks good is have somebody else do it. I don't touch it. I see my barber every 3 weeks and he makes me look good. And then I can progressively get hairier and hairier up here until time passes. You, in theory, Jeff, should have a much better beard than me because you've got dark hair. And, my silly little blonde beard looks, well, silly. I think the thing with growing a beard and keeping a beard is there's always a point where it looks shit. Always. You have to stick it through. You have to, and it's the reason I'll never shave it now, because I'll know I want it back, and there will come a point where it's at that horrible length where it just looks really, really dumb. So yeah, just sit through it, accept the horrible state that it will look for a short period, but then know eventually you'll never have a cold chin again. Greetings from Colombia. Javier. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I do it every day. I do it. As you've seen, I've just transcribed for 3.5 hours, and that's not me done for the day. That's just me done on YouTube. I'm going to go back and finish the album that I'm under NDA, so I can't tell you who it is. I'm going to finish another track from that, and then I'm going to finish this Paul Gilbert thing. And so all in today, I'll probably transcribe for 5-6 hours, and I do that every day. So you show me something in life that you do for every day for 6 hours for between 10 and 20 years that you don't get really, really good at, where you find it really, really easy. So yeah. Okay, right, I'm gonna bounce. I'm gonna go get some soup. I didn't even notice that you misspelled my name, but you are correct. You did misspell my name. But everybody does that. People write an email to me, right? They go Levi Clay 88@gmail.com, and they type me an email, they type my name in, and then they write, "Hey Levy," Levy, and I'm like, dude, you literally typed my name in order to put the fucking email address in. You probably got my email address from leviclay.com. You probably went there, typed that in, found me, and then still put the wrong name in. But it's okay. I take no offense at that. Pure selfishness. More Sean Lane and Holdsworth, the two people that I would sooner die than transcribe, because it's not my wheelhouse in terms of expertise, and it's also, there's no passion in it for me. I don't enjoy it. I don't like. I respect Holdsworth's music, Alan's music, and he's got some things that he's played on that I think are really, really cool, but they're not his things. When he's played for other people, I think they've been cooler, but it's not music that I want to learn anything from. And Sean's music, honestly, for me, there's just no substance there. It's just You know, I don't get it. I just don't get it, and I'm okay with that. And other people aren't okay with that, and they should be. In the same way that there's people that I say that to, and they're like, but I don't get Danny Gatton. There's not a single part of me that feels the need to explain to them what they should get about Danny Gatton. Danny's playing. I don't feel the need to defend my like of a thing, and I don't feel offended when other people don't have a like of a thing. Now, to be clear, I'm not suggesting that you are offended by my not liking of a thing, but consistently, Sean Lane fans are I find Sean Lane fans more egregious than Sean Lane because they're the worst people because they're just so aggressively rabid. Like they do a terrible representation of a fan base. Holzer fans can be bad, but then it's just not the same as Sean Lane fans. Not even close. I've met a lot of different fandoms in my life, and that fan base in particular is like, what is wrong with you? Yeah. What do I know though? Also transcribe a few songs every now and then, but yeah, not that fast. Great job. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I know I could get really good at Holdsworth and I could get really good at Sean Lane, but like I say, it really comes down. I sat and transcribed the Paul Gilbert thing here today that I have no interest in playing or learning from. This is one that other people will enjoy, but I do like Paul's music, and his playing is a big part of my youth. He's a huge part of my musical DNA. But by and large, the things that I'm transcribing are things that I'm looking to learn a lot of things from, understand, like get into the mindset of the player. I know if I only posted things that were interesting to me, nobody would watch any of my videos, right? Because I'm transcribing, like piano solos and like bebop guitar solos and things like that, things that nobody is realistically interested in. But I still am doing things that I think are cool. Whereas, yeah, if I say Sean's got the odd thing, there's definitely a thing or two that he's played where I'm like, oh, that's a really cool, like you phrased that in a really cool way. I really like that. Which is why I did the Sneaky Pete's bootleg, because there's like a really cool bend that he does in that. Towards the end of the solo, he should absolutely have broken a string, and he didn't. And he still went for the bend, knowing that you should break your string going for that bend, but he still did it, and it was very cool. I like that, but not the fast stuff. I got to know you're watching Ron Jarvis Zombek interview. I've not spoken to Ron in a while, but he's the man. He released a book last year. If you've not got it, I assume you've got it, but go and get it. It's a good book. Yeah, that's actually the same way I got to know Ron. Ron would actually be one of the guys that could date when I was transcribing, when I started transcribing, because I emailed Ron probably in like 2008, maybe, to ask him some stuff about his his approach to 12-tone stuff, and about the spastic ink transcriptions and stuff, and he was really responsive and really nice, and yeah, we sort of stayed in touch over the years. He's come to me and asked questions about things, and I love checking in with him because I love his music. I think why can I not remember the name of the album? His solo album, one of his solo albums. I put a lot of time into. I'm going to be embarrassed when I see the name of the album, aren't I? It's him as the scientist on the front. Yeah, Solitary, speaking of theoretical confinement. I listened to that album so much when it came out. I really, really like that album. And that's strange, isn't it? Because that's like compositional rather than musical. He's like demonstrating compositional ideas, but back then I was really into composition and experimental composition stuff. So I've always loved Ron's approach to composition. I like his stuff. Yeah, I think he's got a vibe. Out of interest, what's the one transcription you think you learned the most from? Wow. I don't think I could possibly answer that, because you learn so much from. If you learn a phrase from a solo, then it was worth it, Like, I guess I've maybe learned a little less from things like the Derek Truck stuff, and I guess the Guthrie Govan stuff, because I do play slide, but I don't play like Derek, So I couldn't say I've learned a whole lot from his slide stuff. I've never sat and tried to learn any of his slide stuff. Meanwhile, I think from transcribing like a lot of Josh Smith stuff, that's really helped with some of my swing phrasing. Trying to think if anything jumps out as being particularly like a really big game changer in my transcription thing. Um, yeah, nothing really jumps out as being like, oh, that was I certainly remember the things that were very hard, and I can remember the things that were hard that I didn't get much from, like the George Benson solo I did. That was the take five solo, I think it was. That was really really hard, and I didn't get a whole lot out of it. It didn't. None of it sort of seeped into my playing. But I find, yeah, when I'm transcribing things that I'm really into, uh, like gospel players, I get more from those sorts of things. But yeah, I know it's not that helpful an answer, but also you have to remember that, like, when you say, I know when you speak to most people and you're like, of all of the transcriptions you've done, which did you learn the most from, or which was the hardest, or which one took the longest, or which one paid you the most, or anything like that, right? I think for most people, when you talk to them about that, they've probably transcribed like, what, 20, 50 things in their life, like full transcriptions of a thing. Whereas I have individual clients that I do stuff with, like Elevator Jam Tracks is a good example of this. I do his transcriptions for him, and I must have done 300 or 400 solos just of his stuff for him. So my transcription archive is like 5,000 jobs. I've done like 5,000. It must be about, in over 20 years, it must be like 5,000 things. So my approach with transcription has always been do it, move on to the next thing. I've never been one to transcribe a thing and then sit and learn to play it, because I'm trying to train my ears, not my fingers. I'm an improvising musician, so when I play, I'm looking to bring out things that are in my head, in my ears. And my entire transcription process, when you think about it, is very much hear a thing, know where it is on the instrument. And that just happens now when I play. If I hear a thing in my head, I know where it is. I know how to play that thing on the guitar. So I don't feel the need to sit and practice the technical aspect of it. I want to pick up more with my ears. I think, like I say, big reason why my swing feel has developed so well, because I'm putting 80% of my practice time into hearing and only 20% into the physical practice. That's why my technique has dropped off so significantly. If you go back and listen to my album on Spotify, like there are shred solos on there which I'd take the Pepsi challenge against most shredders with, like not in a I'm better than anyone kind of way, but I hold my own. I held my own. I can't do any of that anymore. Not even close. My technique is just not there anymore. But I feel so much freer and so much more connected to the music that I play. I feel so much more of a, like, music, the piano, the guitar, like they are just an extension of my internal musician, rather than being something that I played back in the day, Paul Gilbert, John Petrucci, all that stuff, where I was sort of playing for the competitive aspect of it. None of that really exists now. I don't like. There's no kind of point to prove or when I play music anymore. It's all just about expressing, and that's reflected when you look at my listening patterns on Spotify. There's just I'm listening to bands upon bands where if you said who's the guitar player in the band, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't occur to me. Don't even think about it, because I'm listening to songs and I'm listening to how harmony interacts and how things make me feel. Not like, oh, could I do that? You know what I mean? So yeah. Many guitarists, they can play any song out there, but nothing original. Yeah. Yeah, and let me be clear, when I pick up my guitar and I improvise, I don't think I really play anything original, in the same way that right now when I'm speaking to you, I'm not saying any original words, but the sentiment is different. And I've kind of expressed this sentiment many times before, but I've used different words in a different order in order to say what it is that I want to say. When I pick up the guitar, you're going to hear things that make sense to you. I'm going to play blues phrases. You're going to hear that and go, oh, this all sounds very familiar to me, because I consider myself a student of a genre, student of a sound. So when I play from language within that framework. So I would never want to say anything I play is original. There's, it's a lot of blues, it's a lot of bebop lines, it's a lot of swing. And you can probably track everything I play down to what I've heard, but the same with the words. We just copy the phrases that our parents say, and ultimately we learn to express ourselves freely with a language that we learn from others. I guess Sean Lane or Holdsworth have to be very weird to transcribe just based on the fact that their vocabulary and their technique are so unique. Well, there's an interesting nugget in there, which is which comes first. Does Alan Holdsworth have a unique vocabulary because of his technique, or does he have a unique technique because of his vocabulary? I lean more towards Alan plays a lot of the ways he does because his technique really facilitates it. There's a reason you don't see Alan Holdsworth playing like fast 2-note per string pentatonic things. And you could argue it's because he doesn't hear those things. Yeah, sure. That's as maybe. Yeah, it's entirely possible. But I would argue that you don't hear the things that your technique doesn't allow or facilitate or practice. So when I'm learning music, playing music, I listen to a lot of like Michael Brecker, and there's definitely parallels or similarities between some of Michael Brecker's more out there stuff and Alan Holdsworth stuff. But when I listen to Michael Brecker and I pick up cool things from it, it's never the really out there, like 9-note augmented scale lines. Those aren't the things that stick with me when I think of Brecker's playing. And so it doesn't occur to me to kind of lock those into my ears and work on those types of things because they're just not actually part of my vocabulary. But they're also not my technique. So maybe if my technique was there, maybe I'd hear things like that and I'd be more inclined to practice things like that, which in turn, then the things you practice become your vocabulary. So yeah, there's definitely lots of interesting, it'd be interesting to do like a lifetime study on people like this, where you have things hooked up to their brain and you sort of see how things like this work. Have you developed your voice on the instrument based on the technique that you've worked on? Or have you developed your technique based on the voice that you wanted to have on the instrument? Thank you very much for entertaining the questions. Yep, all good. I'm going to go. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, the difference is you're playing expressions in your own mind, not a robotic mimic of someone else. Yeah, absolutely. Musical expression is a language, yeah. You can know all of the theory in the world but not be expressive. Yeah. And it's a big part of like a lot of my teaching is me coming up against people who know all the theory. They've learned all the theory, but then when they pick up the instrument to play, they actually don't really have any connection between the things that they've learned or the things that they've read about and the actual music or the actual instrument. So they can't apply any of it. They just know it. They can tell you about it, but they can't do it. And when they hear it, it's not like they hear it and go, oh, I know what that is. None of that is there. But they can tell you the right arpeggio to play over a 13 flat 9 chord. And to me that seems strange because I would rather that you hear a 13 flat 9 chord, know what that thing sounds like. Like if I play, let's do it in G. If I play like, oh, is my keyboard gone? I can't hear my keyboard. Have I unplugged my keyboard? How have I done that? Is my keyboard dead? I must have unplugged this cable. If I kick that cable out. Okay. Apparently I can't play you a chord on my keyboard because I've unplugged the... But if I play a 13 flat 9 chord, you want to hear it and go, oh yeah, I know what that is. And you also want to have an idea of when you hear that, these are the types of lines that I play over it. And this is based on what I've heard such and such a player do or such and such. And then you combine everything you learn about how the musicians you enjoy phrase lines over a chord like that. So when you hear that sound, you know the types of things to play. You do enough of that, you develop your own phrasing and vocabulary. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Anyway, guys, I need to go get some lunch because it's like 4 o'clock and I've not eaten since 10 o'clock this morning. But thank you so much for tuning in. I've just been Levi Clay, same old me. You've been awesome.